Hi, my name is Therese Main.
Hi, my name is Jesse Gable.
Together we host Main and Gable on Family Life. Give us your money.
Can't say that on Christian radio. Well, you have to.
Right,
but
you
you can't.
kinda
But you
have
have to.
We are listener supported, and Sharathon is the time of year where, quite honestly, we need your money.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know?
it's this 4-day period of time we do twice a year, our Sharathon, spring and fall. And yeah, there's a $2.75 million, I don't want to say goal because it's a need. It's like what the ministry needs.
That's the budget, you know?
Yeah, for the next 6 months. And that doesn't come out of nowhere. That comes from people like you. And it's kind of challenging to spend 4 days on the radio asking for that, because obviously saying, hey, give us your money, you can't do that. But at the end of the day, like that's the goal. That's what Family Life has thrived and flourished on for the last, more than 60 years now.
You know, it's kind of funny that it's right around tax time with our spring Sharathon every year, because Jesus spends a lot of time talking about money and teaching about money. And one of the things that he says about taxes is give to Caesar what's due to Caesar, give to God what's due to God, about tithing and taxes. But I think even through that discipline of paying taxes, I've begun to learn that the money I have is not mine. And it makes me a lot more willing to use it in ways that honor God. When I think about the fact that every dime in my bank account is literally on loan from the one who holds it all, it's kind of like, oh, yeah, I could probably do more with this. I could give to more charities. I could support more orphans. I could do things like give to Sharathon. And it's really cool when you get to be a part of something really big. I saw some research that said one of the reasons that people don't give larger gifts to things like Sharathon is because they were never asked.
Which is crazy, because I deliberately avoid asking for big gifts, because it feels so like, do you think maybe you could give us $5,000? It doesn't feel good, but people are waiting to hear that, and they respond.
And there are people who do have money saved up, or they've gotten an inheritance, or maybe some investments that have come through, and they're looking for ways to use that money where not so much of it is going to be taxed. And quite honestly, our Family Life Sharathon is a way to do that, especially when it comes to things like challenges and things like that. A $10,000 gift allows us to do a big challenge.
Yeah.
At the heart of what Family Life does is this mission to share the message of Jesus in ways that people are just meeting it where they are. We don't go out to places and, show up with signs. We aren't standing on a corner handing out Bible tracts, but the stories that we've heard about how Family Life has mysteriously shown up on somebody's radio in some really crazy, convoluted way. It's like, do you think the Lord did that? And when you give to Family Life, you extend the power that you have to reach people beyond what you can. People can't believe unless they hear, and they can't hear unless someone is sent. And that's what you're doing when you give. You are sending us on your behalf to tell people about Jesus. People you'll never meet in places that you can't possibly go to. And maybe the person who was met with that message is you, and your life has been changed. Sharathon is an opportunity for you to say, yes, I notice the difference that this radio station makes in my life. I had a profound experience at one of your events or one of your theater productions, and I want to tell God, thank you for what he has done through Family Life. That's really all that it is.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I grew up with Family Life. My mom always had it on in the car or in the kitchen and whatnot, and a lot of people in our church listened. But coming into the ministry as a young adult, when I started here, I had no idea the emotional impact, the widespread, life-changing impact that the ministry had. And I don't even want to say that Family Life directly is what did that, because it's God.
Yes.
We joke all the time about this, but Therese and I don't get on the radio and we're like, I think I'm going to save a life with this break. I think this one's going to really do some good. Or I'm going to schedule this song here and I think it's going to, convince somebody to come to the Lord. That's all just him. That's God's timing. And like you said, the number of stories we've heard of how, wow, no radio is coming in where I live. My car radio is totally broken. It will only pick up family life. Those are like a dime a dozen. It's crazy how God puts the message of hope into somebody's world, and then how he uses it to transform them. And so, yeah, you're not just throwing money at a wall, paying for some nice entertainment on your drive home in the afternoon.
Right.
Like, it's something that God's really used. And I've been astounded by that. Every Sharathon that rolls around is just like a real encouraging experience for me.
I love that you brought up the idea of not being a venue for entertainment. Like, obviously, we try to do things that make you want to listen longer.
We succeed at doing things.
We try to play songs that, sound good to you. But at the heart of what we do is the mission field, and if I were to describe what my goal is for family life every time Main and Gable gets on the air, it would be preparing your heart for revival.
Yeah.
I feel like there is something moving in this nation. In fact, when you look at Christian radio all across the country, one of the only types of radio that is growing right now is Christian radio, and it's growing by leaps and bounds, which tells me that people are hungry for God's word, that there's an audience for it, that he's using the airwaves in incredibly powerful ways. And when you give, you become a part of that. When you're generous, you really reflect the heart of God. When you support something that has eternal ramifications, you're aligning yourself with the nature of God. There's this picture of generosity in 2 Corinthians 9 that talks about not just blessing others, but transforming the giver. And I'm never going to tell you, in a prosperity gospel kind of way that if you give to Family Life, you're going to have twice as much money show up in your bank. I don't have any grounds for that. But I will tell you, never has there been a time where God has asked me to give and I have done it and not been blessed.
Right. And yet we still are like, I don't know if I will.
And it becomes almost an act of worship. You're trusting God. You're saying, Lord, I believe that you'll provide for what I sacrifice. I believe that you're going to use this well. And I believe that it's going to have impact that I can't even see. And if you feel like God has been, tapping you on the shoulder or maybe hitting you over the head with a frying pan, I don't know what level of prompting you've been feeling from the Lord, this is the time where you can have a huge impact on what God is doing through Family Life. We've got a big goal ahead of us. We've got a really big God that we serve, and we're really excited about what's going to be happening during our Sharathon, and we hope that you will join with us. You can find out more when you go to familylife.org. And on behalf of Jesse and I, give us your money.
Can't say that on Christian radio. Thanks for listening. If you liked this episode, you could subscribe, maybe. And if you really liked it, you could always say so by making a gift to Family Life, the ministry this podcast is a part of. Just go to familylife.org and find out more about what we do.
Our producer is Josh Allen. How could we ever thank you enough? Did you know that Family Life offers a variety of podcasts? Get up to date with Family Life news, including the Noon Report and the 5 o'clock reports. There's If That Makes Sense, a conversation for Christians in their 20s. They're all free and on demand at familylife.org/podcast.